Assalamualaikum, a very good morning to Madam K. Today, me and my group member representing about the poverty issue, which is a very hot topic all over the world. So first of all, I'm going to introduce myself. Me is Siti Aisyah binti Zukri, and my other group member, which is Nur Qadrin Idayu binti Luqman, Zahid Nur Shakira, and also Siti Fatimah. So I hope Madam you enjoy watching our presentation. Nowadays, but more than 20% of people in the world live in poverty. Poverty is a very huge issue all over the world, and this significant problem causes 1,000 people to die each year. So you can say that poverty in Malaysia is a very controversial topic. Poverty has many manifestations, vary over time from place to place, and has been categorized in many ways. Poverty is like mostly condition where people are trying to escape. The enigma of poverty in Malaysia must be solved by the government and also Malaysian. According to the Nelson Mandela 2005, poverty is not natural. It is a man-made, and the action of human being can be reserved and eradications. Poverty is generally related to lack of income, and people whose income level fall below the minimum level of basic human needs are considered to be poor. The incidence of poverty in Malaysia is categorized as the percent of household with the monthly gross household income lower than predetermined poverty income line, PLI. So in Malaysia, the government has adopted three definitions of poverty, which is absolute poverty, absolute hardcore poverty, and also relative poverty. The concept of absolute poverty is that the gross monthly income of family was not adequate to afford the minimum basic necessity of life, such as clothing, healthcare, household rent, and also educations. While the absolute hardcore poverty can be defined as a condition when the household income was less than the absolute poverty, as well as the relative poverty is a group of people that their income was less than others. Therefore, based on the basic cost of good, a poverty line income, which is PLI, was developed and used to calculate all these type of conditions. So we can say that poverty is deadly epidemic which is slowly destroying our populations. The poverty issue can contribute to other issues such as inadequate education, unemployment, and also malnutrition. Due to the lack of income, a poor person is unable to obtain education, and this will remain unemployed. Unemployed person is unable to afford sufficient and nutritious food for his family, and this will give a bad result in their health. The energy required to do the job is missing in the poor individual. So a jobless person is just remaining poor. So the poverty can be said that to be the root causes of the other problem. There are various causes of poverty, but the most significant one is the populations. The rising population put the pressure on the country resources and the economy. The government finds it difficult to provide the growing population with food, shelter, and job. So another cause of poverty can be lack of education, natural disaster, lack of job opportunity, lack of infrastructure, and also political stability. Well, a person is not able to earn enough to meet his family basic need and become poor because of lack of job opportunity, while a lack of education will cause a person to have less paid job, and it makes him become more poor. For the natural disasters such as flood and earthquake, it also lead to the poverty. So at this moment, the Malaysian government has working to address this issue from become worsens. Everyone is taking part in solving this issue. There are various programs created to overcome this problem. Some of the programs that has been implemented by the government, such as Urban Poverty Eradication Program, the One Azam Program, and also the Federal Land Development Authority, which is known as FELDA. Okay. In other words, poverty is a problem that everyone in the world need to address. And if no one managed to do anything about it, as the time goes by, it will keep getting worsened. So my friends, my group mate will explain more about the program of government that has been implemented to solve this issue.
Next, we move to the initiative and program that has been offered by a government to reduce poverty in urban and rural area. Okay, the government has taken various initiatives to be implemented throughout the country to help the people, including establish various program and initiative to help the people to reduce poverty in urban and rural areas. The people need to remain confident and take the opportunity given by the government, and together work with the various measures taken by the government in helping the cost of living. The effect that although may not be immediately felt, the people must be confident in the various action taken to improve the well-being of their lives. The people also need to be realistic in hope of the government and continue to strive to improve themselves towards improving the well-being of life. Of course, the government will always be with the people in helping to reduce the rising poverty rate to these days. On top of that, the government continues its effort to provide employment opportunities. Focus initiative and poverty eradication program have been adapted to meet expectation and maintain a high standard of living from a multidimensional perspective in a more challenging environment. Okay, the first program or initiative that has been introduced by the government is Urban Poverty Eradication Program (PPKB) or Program Pembasmian Kemiskinan Bandar. PPKB is a program implemented for the total burden of poor families in the city, increasing the ability and livelihood of poor families in the city for the well-being of the community in the context of shared prosperity. The PPKB target group consists of households from B40 group with citizen status and poverty status that has been confirmed in the IKASE system or a focus group meeting on state or district level poverty eradication. The IKASE system is a system developed by the Implementation Coordination Unit (ICU) by JPM. Is a national poverty data bank that contains information on poverty starting from the individual's profile, program assistance received by head of household KIR ketua isi rumah and household member ahli isi rumah, from the granting agency up to the application for assistance and monitoring the effective of the program assistance received or as directed by the government from time to time. There are 3 program under PPKB, which are program Baik Pulih, Rumah Daif di Bandar, Projek Rumah Sejahtera, and program Pemerkasaan Ekonomi Komuniti Bandar (PEKB). Next one is Wan Azam program. Wan Azam is a short form from Akhiri Zaman Miskin. The Wan Azam program is one of the main initiatives implemented by the Performance Management and Delivery Unit Pemandu in the Government Transformation Program (GTP) to reduce poverty, in especially extreme poverty in the country. Created in 2010, the Wan Azam program is a government initiative to help low-income people to become independent through various initiatives such as Azam Niaga, Azam Hikmat, Azam Kerja, Azam Tani, and Azam Bandar. Minister of Women, Family and Community Development (KPWKM), Datuk Sri Rohani Abdul Karim once said the ministry was tasked with leading one of the national key result area under the GTP Government Transformation Program to improve the living standards of low-income households. Efforts and initiatives such as Wan Azam and IKASE are done with the aim of eradicating poverty among the people. Participants must register with IKASE as same as Urban Poverty Eradication Program (PPKB), a database for disadvantaged families developed to support, plan and track programs to alleviate poverty in order to apply. Last but not least is Federal Land Development Authority or FELDA. Everyone that knows about FELDA would be agree that one of the success story of rural development is FELDA. FELDA, or Federal Land Development Authority, recognized globally as an outstanding model of rural poverty alleviation. Many want the FELDA model to be emulated and have engaged experts from Malaysia to introduce the model in their nation. This is because poverty eradication is a crucial agenda for sustainable development everywhere. Under the Land Development Ordinance of 1956, for the development of land and relocation, the Federal Land Development Authority (FELDA) was created on 1 July 1956 with the goal of eradicating poverty through oil palm and rubber cultivation. The role of FELDA is to introduce land development projects and agriculture activities, industrial and commercial social economy project. FELDA was no longer hiring new settlers back in 1990. FELDA has been entrusted by the government to stand with its own financial institution and become a statutory entity that can generate its own revenue through a variety of companies to encourage different growth. Consequently, FELDA has introduced a variety of private corporate companies in an attempt to raise revenue, mainly to ensure the full value chain of its core operation. FELDA Holding Berhad, FELDA Plantation Senjam Berhad, and FELDA Global Venture FGV are amongst the largest. Koperasi Pemodalan FELDA KPF, which was initially involved with FELDA Holding, was informed to ensure an increase in the income of settlers. FELDA also founded FELDA Investment Corporation (FIC) after FGV was listed on Bursa Malaysia in June 2012. Since then, FELDA has resettled more than 100,000 families in 317 schemes that include 450,000 hectares of land, mostly planted with palm oil or rubber. The federal government made the decision in 1990 to avoid further settlement of FELDA schemes. Also, FELDA was no longer receiving any financial aid from the government. FELDA has diversified into other economic activities from its initial land development sector and has introduced private corporate entities. From now on, FELDA continues to play an important role in providing sufficient and modern facilities for the schemes, ensuring that the next generation of skilled explorers are able to develop the socio-economic and quality of life, and ensuring that the schemes will generate different economic activities and bridge the gap between urban and small urban areas. Even when FELDA has proven to be a successful mechanism in rural development to reduce poverty, the road to success has not been without its share of challenges. It was not easy to convince people from rural areas in their early days to abandon their laid-back, live-in village to migrate to a plot of uncharted land to practice sound agriculture. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Presentation of the SWOT analysis and strategic choices of the program, as well as challenge of the program. So every program definitely have its own SWOT analysis and challenge that they actually need to be faced, and there is no exception for all of this program. So I will start with the first program, which is Azam. So Azam has its own strength, and Azam always play its role to ensure that people who come from the low-income family being helped. And this program provide the chance for the low-income family to generate as well as increase their income. So in addition, Azam program giving opportunities for the low-income family to actually strengthen their economy. It is because Azam actually a program with a lot of initiative to actually ensure that all of these targeted people, low income people, can gain income. So as a result,
this program literally encourage the low-income people to be more independent and not just rely themselves with the fund provided by the government. So this program as a whole give them actually guide to change their life in an easy way. So even there are positive side of the Azam program. So next, looking on the opportunities of the Azam program. So Azam program specifically comes with the aim to ensure that they can improve the standard of living of low-income family, and other aim, they always ensure that they can improve the household income for the low-income family who actually invest in the entrepreneurial industries and can increase their entrepreneurial income. And in addition, the participants will be provided with the lecture which actually focusing on the financial management as well as basic training skills aid. And through this program, participants will be covered by insurance in the event and in case any unpredictable accident occur during their business operation. So Azam program, even there are so many opportunities, so many positive side that also track to this program, which is in Azam. Even the program actually created by the government, it also has a threat, and most of the threat happen unexpected and always out of control. So one of the threat is actually related to the resource crunch due to the economic downturn, and not only that, what make it worse, there are also changes in the strategic of the funding partners and also the government. So in addition, this certainly it cuts the competition to the source fund. So this is the threat of the Azam program. So the challenge for the Azam program, we know that Azam program always aims and focus on improving people's life. However, there are also challenges that need to be faced. Every participant actually will be receive goods or equipment as the initiative to actually reduce the burden of the eligible people. However, there are complaints from some of the participants which receive equipment that already had problem. So this totally become an issue, and this totally give a bad return for them. And the equipment given, whether it was damaged or did not last long. So as the result, the participant did not get any benefit from the equipment provided, which causing losses. And it is not as Azam actually comes with the aim of the best economic assistance and opportunities to the poor and also low income families. Okay, so next I will explain on the FEDA program. FEDA program also has its own SWOT analysis and also challenge that they actually need to be faced. So I will start with the strength and also weaknesses. So we know that FEDA actually focusing on the development of land and also relocations as a whole, as their aim actually to eradicate poverty. So the FEDA actually function to carry out project of land development and also agricultural activities, industrial and commercial social economy. So the program, the FEDA program actually also has its strength, and we can see that FEDA actually has an excellent plant breeding activity, and in addition, FEDA actually can be considered as the third largest producer in the world, and as their major focusing on the agricultural industry. So FEDA also always continue to make a better development in technology and also planting. And moving on to the weaknesses. So weaknesses of the FEDA, we can see that FEDA is not always perfect when delivering their services and product, and some of the weaknesses will be limited land bank. So what make it getting worse of the manpower also not enough, and the uncertainties in the form of managing for the FEDA program. we know that challenge cannot be avoided, and no matter what, the solution should be implemented. So some challenge that happen to the FEDA program is that the government and the FEDA are concerned about improving the shortcoming of FEDA, which is experiencing a shortage income. So as FEDA's debt currently amounts to 10.6 billion, which has incurred to provide cash advance to settlers and also for replanting purpose. The last program selected is actually Urban Poverty Eradication Program. So this program, Poverty Eradication Program, also has its own strength, which make people love for its services. So this program definitely helps the small, medium enterprise (SME) to remain in business industries, and it also helps the business to be more stable. And also, other than that, it's also improving the welfare of the student. And how they improving the welfare of the student? By it's actually improving the literacy as well as numeracy. And in addition, this program actually created a quality school for students. So they aim actually in expanding public health facilities as well as enhances social safety net. So this is some of the strength of the Urban Poverty Eradication Program. So next, for their weaknesses, it can be considered that their resources are quite limited. The project overview plan is also absent, and when no proper plan is made, this literally created to lack of proper follow-up. And furthermore, lack of creativity and innovation occur. And we know that urban eradication program giving chance to some of their threat. So this program somehow potentially facing with problems related to their recipients, beneficiaries, where some of them actually lack of knowledge and illiteracy. There is also escalation of material prices, where non-cooperation by beneficiaries linked to such political parties. So this is all the threats happen in the program during its operation. This program also has its challenge. We can see that there are family units in the rural area are being categorized as poor, rural, and also urban poverty have constantly been identified as a problem continued to rural. However, the consequences of poverty are devastating among urban communities, as a vast proportion of newer poor family units are settle in urban setting. So rural and urban migrations combined with the influx of foreign regulated and unregulated migrant dramatically increase the urban poverty. So challenge in poverty line income. It is observed that the population was defined to be in relative changing over time.
Okay, so I will proceed with the next point, which is recommendation. There has been a lack of plans and initiatives designed to counter poverty alleviation, but it is sad to note that nothing has been achieved in practical terms unless thoughtful systemic adjustments are made at both the policy and implementation levels. Looking at the issue of poverty from a strictly technical point of view, the following acts tend to be more essential, like food and the population are two major indicators as well as factors that influence the state of poverty. We need to be cautious when determining the relationship between the cause and effect of the variables. So there are some recommendations on how to overcome the poverty alleviation. Firstly, is by the relationship between population growth and wealth inequality needs to be resolved through a massive employment plan that would help lift the standard livings of the poor, boost the nutrition and health, including its family, and rid the children of unpaid labor. For example, it is important to fine-tune the IKC register for the poor. According to the ICU 2016, the National Poverty Data Bank or IKC is a system that stores data for the poor in Malaysia. Based on the analysis carried out by the IKASE, the registry for the poor in Malaysia needs to be updated since there are many poor people who are not yet registered under IKASE. Besides, government need to play an important role where they need to create new jobs to reduce their poverty. A well-paid work is the only way out of poverty. To get back to the pre-recession levels of employment, they need to generate millions of new jobs to kickstart job growth. The federal government should invest in job development strategies such as restoring the infrastructure, improving the renewable energy resources, redeveloping abandoned housing, and other sensible investment that can create jobs. Thus, it can improve our national economy. While government is a key player in the entire development process, as its policy and activities have a significant impact on the whole range of political and socio-economic life, a key role in this respect must be given to the private sector, which adopts a more flexible approach that can be easily adapted to the needs of target groups. Poverty and related concerns need to be seen not only as economic challenge but also as a moral, ethical and cultural norms. Islamic institution of zakat and wakaf and many other changes were implemented and tried over the years in Islamic community that play a vital role in alleviating poverty. Moreover, to close the gap between the rich and the poor, the study indicates that inequality as shown by income-based factors is more severe and acute than related to the provision of physical and social service. This is especially apparent in the difference between the amount of income and the cost of living. Therefore, restoring the equilibrium between the position of the public and private sectors in the field of education and healthcare would decrease the amount of this item in household spending, thereby achieving free and compulsory basic education, free primary healthcare, and more effective preventing medicine. Not just that, it can establish a flexible and reasonable wage and income policy accurate with the price levels. In addition, improving the education system is one of the important recommendations to overcome the poverty alleviation. The standard of education, programs and teaching methods and strengthening the connection between the performance of education system and the needs of labour market need to be improved. Besides, put together the program and design to minimize school dropout at the elementary and intermediate levels and program to eliminate the illiteracy in regions where such initiative is required. Last but not least, there's an increase in the number of free kindergartens in the state of public sectors. To be concluded, it is important need to simplify all such Islamic modes that are ideally adapted to our ideological and cultural environment. It will also tend to decentralize the development process on which little progress has been achieved, even though it is widely recognized as the primary form of good governance.